being pushed this close to death, it reacts. It hunkers down, and you see it regain some of its health. You see it revitalizing. You see some of the wounds close up a bit, and then suddenly, spines just shoot out of its body as it's kneeling down. And I need everybody to make a dexterity saving throw in the room.
I'm out of luck too. Oh.
Okay. Okay.
It's not bad, not bad.
This is for Jarvik. Okay, he failed.
It's about time we got hit by something.
If I take 4 points of damage, I'm down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Bad. These dwarves that were basically on the cusp of death fall from these spines just hitting them straight in the chest, and that's the ticket that they needed to be taken the rest of the way to death's door. Okay, Jarvik takes 12 damage from this bone spike, just kind of drilling into his shoulder, and the rest of you are fine. Seeing more of his comrades die, one of the dwarves is disheartened by this and fails his swings. Roscoe, you're up.
I'm going to use Cure Wounds on Bishop.
Okay.
As a second level spell.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, so take off another 5 there. So you're at 42.
Okay, and I'll use... so that brings me down to 1 second level spot left. So I'll just use Healing Word as a bonus action as well on Bishop.
Okay.
I would like to, since the other dwarves behind him are down, and there's only one dwarf on either side, I want to run under his legs.
Roll some acrobatics.
Gotcha.
Okay. You do make it. Unfortunately, it does get an attack of opportunity against you as you pass underneath. And so you'll take 10 slashing damage from its claw as you pass underneath.
This whole time, I've had the hammer on my belt. Mm-hmm. Has it been reacting at all? Do I feel like it? I guess do I feel anything coming off the hammer? Just being in this room, or
there is if you put your hand to it, there is a kind of a vibrato to it, very very subtle. Almost like a slight bit of electricity to it, but it's very, very subtle.
Okay.
Beyond that, no, there's no change.
All right, I'm gonna use a first level spell slot and do another chromatic orb.
Okay. All right, good hit.
More acid.
All right.
I've got 1 spell slot left. If there's my movement.
Okay.
I'm gonna second wind.
Yeah, I think you just roll your hit die. Yeah.
Awesome.
One of the 2 remaining dwarves swings out with its axe, landing 2 good hits. 2 okay hits.
Solid hits.
Against the Bone Devil. Bone Devil. He's going to whip around.
Cloud of Dagger.
Oh yeah, Cloud of Daggers. Yep, thank you. Roll your 44. Nice. He's actually going to move to here. Everyone gets an attack of opportunity on him. One of the dwarf misses. The other dwarf misses as well. And you're just...
I'm going to go...
Okay.
Can I go ahead and use my inspiration?
Okay. Well, can you... Yeah, you can. It's just like... Roll some damage.
Ooh.
Nice.
Stab him in the butt as he runs by.
Yeah, he does. Yo, uppercut the butt. Bone Devil is focused in on Jarvik. Critted him last time. Going for a sting attack. Knocking Jarvik, you see the stinger lash out and just completely pierce and go right through, impaling Jarvik. The stinger coming out on the other side, leaving the poison right in to his cavity, and Jarvik just his eyes glaze over as he falls face forward onto the ground, onto the earth. Bone Devil turns around, taking another 2 swipes at Dwarf 3 and Dwarf 1. Stabbing again with its tail, its stinger towards Dwarf 3. And Dwarf 3 falls. Bishop out of the corner of your eye, that you can see that this was that one was Gorham.
All right,
facing off with him. Looking around behind you, the only dwarf still standing in your immediate vicinity. There were 4 more dwarves standing out in the pathway that either are not fighters or were wounded up at the top. But you can see that they're getting antsy and starting to basically they're about to charge in themselves, seeing their friends dying. You turning around, you see that the dwarf that's left is Aldrin, the dwarf that found you in the tavern. Aldrin steps up. Takes a couple swings with his axe, but misses both. You can see that there is an anguish to his face as he made those swings. Almost like his heart's not in it anymore. Roscoe.
Okay, I want to move over here. I'd like to use Healing Word as a bonus action, level 1 on Jarvik.
Okay.
And then I would like to stab this Bone Devil one more time with my rapier.
It's a good hit. Roll damage.
And
how do you want to do it?
I want to basically grab on, climb up his arm and just shove the rapier down into his skull.
You acrobat yourself up onto its back. Its tail slashing out at you. You duck and you just take your rapier and you drive it like a stake right through its head. Its open mouth, Bishop. You can see you can see Roscoe's sword just kind of like a nail just going through the roof of his mouth, down through the bottom and through his jaw. Locking it in place. The Bone Devil suddenly freezes and its eyes glaze over as the hulk of it just collapses onto the ground, tossing Roscoe nimbly off.
And I'll kind of as I do an acrobatic tumble off of this thing, I'll grab my sword out of its head as well.
I'm gonna move up and just kind of pull the hammer out from my belt loop and say, let's finish this before any more surprises. Okay. And I'm gonna hit
you see at the base of what you would assume is Moradin's anchor. You see a little slot.
I'm gonna reach into the bag of holding.
Okay.
and pull out artifact fragment 1 and artifact fragment number 2.
And you see that there's like this kind of open divot where there would be like a triangle and like a circle slab would go, and you see that these two pieces kind of fit in perfectly. Now that you're closer to the giant stone stake itself, what you see is that it's kind of like a prism shape, like a triangular, like a 3D triangular shape. And so these artifact fragments kind of fit around it at the base, and you push them in, and you feel a radiance come alive in the entirety of the altar itself. And the hammer, while it doesn't shine more light or the runes don't glow brighter, you feel a sudden life to it, a sudden vibration, definitely a mental pull for sure.
And so all that's left is for me to swing, right? I don't have to do anything or move any other pieces at all?
Doesn't seem to be.
Okay. I'm going to pull my arm back, but then I'm going to turn and look at Roscoe and say, do we need to move these dwarves? I don't know. Do you need to get back? I don't know what's going to happen. Also kind of looking in Aldrin's direction.
I say you just do it.
Aldrin just kind of nods his approval.
Okay. With one hand, I just land it smack dab in the center.
You feel a magnetism between the hammer and the head of the stone. Almost like behind your own strength, there was some kind of invisible pull that just vastly accelerated the swing of this hammer, striking the stone and satisfyingly driving it all the way back down into the earth. As soon as the head of the stone hits the altar, it interlocks with those artifact fragments that you put in at the base of it, and it spins and it locks, and then it spins again and it locks again. It spins again and it locks again. It does this 6 times. Each time, a new section of the altar brightens and begins to glow and emanate radiant energy. After the 6th side is locked in and glows, there's a sudden wave just sweeps over you, and you feel something go through you, pass through you, and go beyond. Roscoe, you experience this as well as Jarvik. Suddenly, the eyes of Aldrin just light up. He says, "You've done it. I can feel him. Morden. I can feel his presence. You have done it." You looking down at the hammer, you see that now this thing is a thing of glory. This is an instrument of majesty. The runes glow brightly and shine through all sides. The metalwork of it is without flaw, just completely perfect. The handle, it's the balance, everything. It seems that there couldn't be no greater a weapon or tool to wield than this. In the top of it, you see a kind of a stone emanating an even brighter energy. Now, it's not shining light through it, but it's just very bright to behold. Suddenly, you get a grasp of what this thing can do. And as the giver of life, as the creator of life, the crafter of life that Moradin is, never being a religious person yourself, you feel a sudden, not only attunement to this hammer, but a sudden attunement to Moradin himself. Reaching beyond this, not only do you feel Moradin's presence, but you feel the spirit of each of the dwarves that have fallen. You feel Gorum reaching out to you, and you feel like if you wanted, using the power of the hammer, you could reach out and touch the spirit of Gorum and the other dwarves that have fallen.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna try to do.
So mentally, just channeling yourself through the power of this hammer. You reach out to all these dwarves, and this sudden rush comes to you, and like almost through your arm, dizzying you immediately as you kind of catch yourself and you look around. You see the eyes of these dwarves begin to flicker open, and they wake up. They were for sure dead a moment ago, but now they've been restored back to life through this hammer. Looking back into the gate beyond the veil, you don't see Morden. It's more of a presence that you feel, that there is a realness suddenly to this deity that you've never felt before. And the power of this feeling is, one, inexplicable. Two, it's fearful it causes you to suddenly fear, but in a majesty kind of way. Not in a scared kind of way, but more of an experiencing an awesomeness that is this power, that is this presence. You hear Gorham's voice behind you, getting up off the ground. I was with him. But I'm glad to be back. You've done it, Bishop Balin, heir to Mount Phenol. And these other dwarves are starting to get up off the ground slowly, listening to Gorham and looking at you, Bishop, standing in your radiant glory, holding this hammer. And under Gorham's leadership, he raises a fist and he says, "Hail!" And the other dwarves, getting up from death, manage to pull the strength together to say, "Hail!" all together. And Gorham says to you, "Bishop, with your might, with Morden's might, we can take back our home." He wants to say more. You can tell that he wants to say more, but the words aren't coming, and tears are starting to form in his eyes and to stroll down and flow into his white beard.
I'm gonna look at him and just say, with Morden's aid, your home will be yours again. Come, let's leave this mine and gather ourselves and prepare.
So you guys gather up your things. You gather yourselves. The dwarves help each other up. A lot of them limping, but the lot of you make it back outside of the mine, back into the camp square there, the town square. As you were walking back through the mine, these gemstones, now are glowing, like with a radiance to them that they were not before. Like especially like walking across the ground, it was almost like these gems were lighting the way back into the proper part of the mine. And then once you get back into the square, even in daylight, you can see that these cartloads of gems are shining bright. Now, one of them by itself might not be sticking out to you so starkly in broad daylight, but with how many there are in these carts, they stand out like very obvious, in a very obvious way, and people are drawn to them, standing around these carts, and people are starting to see you guys emerge from the mine. There's a new spirit, a new life to the camp. You see Conway shouting at, just kind of shouting and not to say giving orders, but just kind of acting as just a general leadership for his engineers, and for the people that are like the first line leaders, like the managers of everything. He's talking to them, and then these managers are like shouting orders at their crews and everything for reconstruction, for building proper facilities and really just getting a kickstart. You see a couple of people, a couple of bad apples trying to reach for these gems, and Conway shouts and grabs somebody's attention, and you see security like just beat those guys over the heads. And as you're kind of walking in, just witnessing all of this, Conway looks at you and he says, "Well, my friends, it seems you were successful in your venture. It was a pleasure doing business with you. And on a personal note, I'm glad you made it."
Thank you. I'm glad to be back, but I'm also ready to leave. But we have a few things we need to take care of first. What are your intentions with the deeper part of the mine? Are you planning on closing it off, or
looking at this? Conway looks at the dwarves and he says, "My mining crew, and perhaps with the help of our new dwarf friends, that part of the mine, the altar, the anchor, will be guarded constantly. It will be sealed off, hopefully with stronger magic than before, so that none may reset what you have put right today."
Good. We need a few strong men to take a cart down there and get rid of a devil, something that defiles the altar. Once it's out, then we can seal it up and do right by Morden.
Conway nods, and he kind of glances over, and one of his men heard it, and he nods, anticipating the need, and automatically starts gathering up a small crew to go and take care of that. Conway continues and says, "Well, as you can see, things are in full swing here. What will you do next?"
Well, I think I'm needed elsewhere at the moment, but I'm gonna stop and visit with my parents for a while. So you can probably expect us to stay in town for at least another day or two before we move towards the mountain.
"And what of you, Roscoe? The most interesting halfling I've ever met?"
Well, I guess as of now, my plans are to help the dwarves take back Mount Pheno, and then I have an appointment with one of our mutual acquaintances.
He raises his eyebrows and says, "Ah, right," as he recalls. And he says, you've got a job waiting for you in Tavares, right?" "Huh? Well, good on you, Roscoe."
Seems like.
"Yeah. I wish you well, Bishop and Roscoe. It has been not only a pleasure working with you, but a pleasure knowing you. Feel free and come and visit the mine anytime. Would certainly not mind to see happy faces again. I expect this place to be a much more joyful place should you happen upon it in your travels in the future. But until then, you're welcome to stay." And so he goes off and he says, "If you'll excuse me," and he goes off to continue keeping this new order, it seems, going around. There's a lot of activity happening around these gems, like getting those in line. It seems that those were an important acquisition of all of this whole situation. Bishop, you see off in the distance your home that you grew up in. There's a small. It's just a small hut, basically. You remember it being a one room set up with beds and like a little living area, like little hut cottage, with a small stream of smoke coming from the stack at the top.
Does Morden's hammer, is it still glowing even out of the out away from the altar?
Oh yes.
Okay, I'm going to put it, I guess, on my belt loop.
Yeah.
Then obviously turn my pickaxe not on fire and invite Roscoe and Jarvik to accompany me to my home.
Well, it would be rude to deny royalty.
I kind of laugh and start walking towards my house.
As you walk in and open the door, seeing like the bruise, like the bruisings and the just the signs of intense battle being on you, your mom, rushes to your side, gives you a hug. The gore and the mess that's on you, she doesn't care, and she hugs you again, tighter than the first time. It seems that there's been new life brought to your mother, and your dad is smiling. As a man that didn't have a lot to smile for, it seems, when you knew him last, it strikes you as odd, but in a good way, to see him like this. And he claps you on the shoulder, very gently, of course. They usher you guys inside. They sit you down, and you can see that your mom's been cooking. As you guys sit down around the hearth, and around the kind of cooking pot, your mother says, "So, Bishop, start from the beginning. How did you escape? And don't leave out any details."
Well, it's a long story.
Well, I have a feeling that we have all the time in the world. And so as you kind of go in, little by little, in the most vivid detail that you can, them hanging on every word, every moment, every feeling of anticipation, that the day goes on into into the evening as you recount the story of your adventures leading back up to bring you here.
Good stuff, man.